Welcome back. I hope you've had a fabulous festive period full of probably a few indulgences. Today, I'm actually going to be covering the ways you can start to feel a little bit more human and less bloated again. Over Christmas, over the festive period, you've probably eaten a little bit more than you wanted to. You may have drunk a little bit more alcohol than you maybe ought to have done. I'm probably guilty of that too, and you're probably really tired because of all the stuff you've been doing. Even if you've just been alone, maybe you're just feeling fatigued. So today is designed to help give you a few tips to help you bring your body and your hormones back into balance so that you can get to New Year's Eve and 2026 feeling totally zingy. After all the food, the chaos, the drinks, it is quite normal to feel like this, rather bloated and a little bit frazzled. You're running on empty and your hormones are a little bit out of whack. But the thing is, your body is incredibly resilient. I remember at school, you probably had a much more sensible childhood, younger adulthood than I did. When I went to parties, I would drink special brew beer, which I always drank far too much of and felt really vile as a result. And I was known as the whiskey monstress. Not bragging, but that was part of my sort of late teens, early 20s. I always thought, oh my God, I'm going to die of cirrhosis of the liver within like 2 weeks, because that's what we were taught would happen. And while I'm not saying drinking too much alcohol is acceptable, it's not, because it does have a profound impact on your health, 100%. But our bodies are so much more resilient than we give them credit for. Does not mean to say, oh, right, okay, I'm going to go out and give you some real welly and abuse it. I don't recommend that. But we are more resilient than we think we are. The body has this incredible way of healing. And if you're feeling pretty ropey right now, you can start to feel pretty good fairly fast. Now, late nights of sleep do have quite a significant impact on your brain function, actually your cognition. So you sort of prefrontal cortex, the decision-making aspects of your brain, actually for about 5 days after a poor night's sleep. If you've had poor REM sleep, the sort of rapid eye movement section, which is where you do a lot of your emotional processing, your memory consolidation, after one bad night's sleep, that can still have a negative impact on you for about 5 days afterwards. So it might take a few days just to get really back in the saddle, but physically there's a lot that you can do, and it will make a profound impact on the improvement of your sleep, but also on how much zingier you can feel in a short space of time. You may also be feeling a little bit more emotional. I think the festive period is one of those where we all go into it with very high hopes and expectations, don't we? Because we want it to be perfect and we want it to be lovely and we want everything to go well. And because we are not the only ones with that expectation, we are not the only ones who's probably been stressing to make sure everything's ready. You've got your things ordered, you've got your food prepped, you've got this, that, or the other. You may not have done anything because you're alone and you just thought, no, stuff it, I'm just going to eat my cheese on toast with a slice of tomato on top. Regardless of what it is, I think most of us go into the festive period with, we want it to be as good as possible. And often, because we've set those high expectations, we come out of it and we're thinking, I didn't quite go like I wanted it to. So-and-so said something because they probably had too much to drink or they were too tired, or indeed you may have done. We may all have done. And, you get to the end of it thinking this was a period that was supposed to be a time for connection and love and togetherness. And sometimes it doesn't work out like that. And that can really leave some heavy emotional baggage afterwards. So if that's happened to you, if you were the one who said a few things that you might have regretted saying in the morning, if you're possible to do it, apologize to make up and explain that you're just feeling frazzled and tired and it caught you at a bad moment. If somebody else did the offending or the sort of lack of sensitivity in their communication, either call them out on it and just have a nice chat about it rather than it sort of simmering under the surface. I'm a great one for, if something's a bit of an issue, get it out, because the longer it sits and festers, the longer we all put our own little interpretation on it and our own sort of subjective outcomes. If you can just get it out, it might be a bit uncomfortable, bringing it up, and you will feel so much better after having brought it up and having clarified and cleared the air a little, even though it does take a bit of courage to do that. We are so programmed to not upset the apple cart, and sometimes I wouldn't, you know, I'm not suggesting that you go and upset the apple cart on purpose, but sometimes if things have been said and it's a common reality, particularly after Christmas, get it out in the open, clear it up, so that you can move forward and hopefully spend the new year and celebrating the beginning of the new year in a, you know, without the clutter and the emotional baggage carried over from this current year, which for me has been an absolute git. I'm quite glad to see the back of 2025. I really just hope 2026 is going to be slightly better. So first things first, drink water. Hydration. The vast majority of us do not drink enough water. Say, for instance, if you weigh 160 pounds, you want to be drinking about half of that in fluid ounces of water every day. So that means around 80 fluid ounces of water if you weigh 160 pounds. It's sometimes a bit tricky to do that. There are days, I mean, I love my water, and when I'm really busy, there are days I actually have to force myself to drink water. I always start the day with a large glass, sometimes two. I always end the day with 2 large glasses of water. I normally drink a glass of water throughout the course of the night, particularly if I've woken up. So make sure that you're getting plenty in. And if you have to strategically drink water, you know, remind yourself to drink water, set an alarm on your phone. It's just like maybe once every 2 hours, drink a glass of water so that you're staying hydrated enough. Hydration will give you more energy. It will help with your brain thoughts. It'll help with your emotions. It'll help detoxify anything, you know, any of the stuff that's gone in that you don't normally eat, and it's sort of having a bit of an impact on how you feel, particularly if you've eaten the more sugary stuff or had more alcohol to drink. The water will definitely help flush that out. You can, if you've had way too much to drink and you're feeling hungover, coconut water is one of the better things that you could drink because it's got the electrolytes in it. If you don't have access to coconut water, it's also quite pricey. You could always add some lemon juice and, you know, maybe a pinch of Himalayan rock salt into your water. That will help the body actually absorb it more quickly. So electrolyte laden water helps you rehydrate faster than just straight water out of the tap or the filter or however you get your water. Movement is the next one. If you're feeling pretty ropey, I wouldn't necessarily commit to a heavy duty workout, but a good walk in the mountains or a good walk outside and you're across the fields or in the park or the forest or wherever it might be, that will help to just settle frazzled nerves. I don't think anybody ever goes for a walk and then comes back and thinks, oh, I really didn't enjoy that, unless you're cold and wet, in which case, yeah, you should have worn better clothing. But on the whole, all of us benefit from being outside in nature, around the trees. Trees, do you know, they give off their own essential oils. It is known as forest bathing. It's incredibly good for you. So if you can get out and be surrounded by trees or nature, it's just going to have a calming effect on your nervous system, and it's going to help you, again, detoxify, but also just calm those frayed nerves, give you a sense of connection and groundedness. If you're anything like me, I will do a strength training workout most days through Christmas period and beyond. I mean, I strength train most days anyway. I find for me, it sets the bar high. I feel great. I feel strong. I feel cleansed. Even if I'm feeling a bit ropey, I still do it. And it's amazing how much energy actually that can give you, as well as a sense of self-esteem because you've done something that was a little bit hard, and yeah, you kind of got that nailed. Obviously, food, nourishing, balanced meals are going to help. Eat as a wide range of different colours, fruits and vegetables that you can do. Be protein centric, so focus on lean, healthy protein, whether that's legumes, chia seeds, quinoa, if you're vegetarian, tofu, or obviously, you know, healthy lean meats if you're omnivorous. Make sure you're eating plenty of vegetables though, because you want the fiber for your gut health. If you can get access to some fermented foods, or, you know, you brew your own, you make your own, definitely make sure you've got a, you know, serving of kimchi or sauerkraut on your plate most days, or you drink kombucha or you drink kefir, because that will help the system settle. Again, it's great for your gut health, helps with your hormone balance, also helps improve your sleep. If you're feeling exhausted, get to bed earlier. Maybe have a few nights of recuperative sleep. So you eat a little bit earlier, you eat healthier, and you drink more water and get to bed maybe an hour earlier than you normally would do, it's amazing the profound impact that can have on the next morning of how better rested you feel, just how much clearer and cleaner that you feel, and the body just restore a lot more quickly. So really focus on getting some decent sleep once you've got out of the busy festive period. Also know that you can bank your sleep. It's been proven in studies, if you know that you're going to have a few late nights or 1 or 2 late nights, try and get to sleep a little bit earlier for 2-3 nights before the late nights are going to happen. You'll still feel tired after your late nights, but the actual impact on your brain health, your physical health, if you can bank your sleep a little bit in advance, it does have a positive impact on how you manage those late nights of sleep. But if you're not able to do that, then make up the deficit somewhat for the next few days after you've had those late nights of sleep. And also you'll be incentivized because you'll feel so tired anyway. You'll be just like, get me to bed. It's 5 p.m. I want to be under the covers. I think there's something also really lovely about when we've overindulged a little bit, because often on the normal day-to-day, you don't have that drive to make yourself feel a bit better because you just sort of live in that sort of grey zone of it's okay, it's all right. But when you've overindulged a bit, it really makes you think, oh no, I don't want to be eating that stuff, and I do not want to see another bottle of alcohol or anything along those lines. And it just gives you that opportunity to have a bit of a reset. And I think there's something psychological about going into a new year as well. And it just enables you to start it off with sort of clean energy. I remember last year, and the queue outside our local leisure centre for people to join the gym was phenomenal. And of course, that queue soon went off after a couple of weeks because people then don't go back. One of the most important things that you can do for yourself as a New Year commitment, I'm not a great one of New Year's resolutions because I think they're easy to say, and it's always easier to say something than it is to actually do it. But one of the best things that you could possibly do for your next year ahead is to drink more water and to move your body regularly. Have a fabulous New Year's Eve. I wish you everything well for 2026 and cannot wait to see you back again soon. Take good care and Happy New Year.